Hi, Justin, ampsandsound. Wanted to share one of my very earliest non-Dynaco, non-restoration projects with you guys that I found as a buddy was moving and gave me back an old project, and just wanted to sort of talk about the DIY experience for me and why I think it's so very important and something to be considered for anybody wanting to build their own stereo or get to know their own equipment better. So what we have here is a 6T9 amplifier, uh, basically straight out of the Nuts and Bolts. Nuts and Bolts was a magazine. It was straight out of the Nuts and Bolts article. I used to go to this magazine shop that was on Robertson Boulevard in LA in the middle of the night, go read all these magazines. It was super cool. Got a copy. I had a friend who duplicated the PCB, and we built it. And it was one of these starts to the process of us becoming ampsandsound. And we got to use our own output transformers, which was super cool. That was a really big step forward. Some almost 15 years later, we have our newest generation of output transformers coming online, and we're beginning to work with, and that's really special. So getting to see the first generation against our fourth generation output is pretty cool. Started off with an EdCore output transformer like most people do, and so the 16.9, if I remember correctly, is a 12 AT, half of a 12 AT7 triode plus an EL84, if I'm not mistaken. So if you're using it as a single-ended amplifier, it's basically a 1 to 3 watt wonder in a single envelope. It's a great amp. It's a super simple amp to build, and it was really, really popular. The bigger brother equivalent was the 6LU8, which I think was like a 12 AT7 and half of an EL34. People made push-pull amplifiers out of them for a long time as well, but the single-endeds were super popular and are coming back into popularity again with a lot of the big speakers like I build, which are like our Hudsons or the OHAS kits, our Art House kits. So just wanted to show you sort of why DIY was important. You can go to a website called Mauser, buy a Hammond chassis. They come in different sizes, and then you can buy tools from a company called Greenlee, and you can punch these, or you buy drill bits and you use a little bit of drafting paper, trace out where things go by putting it on top, draw it all up, or put like blue tape, draw it all up, drill it all out, and then mount your components. So that's what the back would look like. A little bit of a logical layout for the back. Outputs right behind the outputs. Inputs as far away from the power as you can get it. Volume pot right next to the input because it's just an attenuator. Single-ended amps are running full power all the time. We used, if you see all the black hardware here, came from a place called McMaster Car. McMaster Car uses a fantastic app on your phone, and you can order hundreds of dollars worth of fasteners in minutes, and it'll show up the very next day. They're not the cheapest, but they have the easiest to use website, and so they're fantastic for that. They're like ordering Domino's. You shouldn't have the app. That said, here's the inside of what the amp looked like. Here we go, right? And so this was the circuit board that we got right here. Straight out of Nuts and Bolts. Big old power cap. The choke, which wasn't always standard to it, is a Dynaco 3C54, which is a 1.5 Henry choke, right? Kind of our own custom take on the wiring. You guys can kind of get a zoom in on that if you want, right? Volume pot, so you didn't have to have a source attenuator. You could just hook it up to like a Bluetooth streamer and be on your way. One of the things that's kind of standard practice for a lot of people is that you take the label for your transformers and you'll put it on the back lid, so you know the specs of your transformers. So when you're trying to service it, or you need to know what's going on, you can look at the color coding and get the specs. So that's what we did. That's why it's a sticker. You just apply it to the back of it here. And though it was not the quietest amplifier, widest bandwidth, it was a really, really musical amplifier and a lot of fun to build, and sort of taught me the process of building and refining. I built a whole bunch of these for people, and it's nice to see that a few of them still exist and are being used and enjoyed. This one is now mine again. I'm really pleased to have it back. So I hope you guys will think about maybe either doing the 6T9 or the 6LU8. There are a lot of compactron tubes that you guys can do that make for simpler wiring and would make for a really good project. You can go to DIYaudio.com for good schematics. If you want an easier kit to do, Tube Depot has really good tube kits that you can buy. They're inexpensive, that don't even have chassis. You can just put them on a piece of plywood and start building tube amps. They come with power transformers, PCB, and output transformers, and help you to learn how to start doing it yourself. And then it's a process of refinement. Thanks so much.